That number has now fallen all the way down to about 20%. And that repricing of that probability has fed into some of the weakness that we've seen across the US markets. But generally, that probability of that first Fed cut is driving a lot of the movement in the markets that we're seeing across the world.
That's how we wrap it up on the business desk, at least for now. Back to Ayanda.
Thanks to Misang. Here's what else you need to know today. President Cyril Ramaphosa will deliver his 8th State of the Nation address on Thursday. That's as the country prepares for the 2024 national and provincial government elections. But just how much has Ramaphosa and his executive actually achieved? And which promises has he fulfilled? And which has he broken? Well, Newzroom Africa's senior politics reporter, Ziyanda Ngobo, takes a look.
I want to be there when the people start to turn it around, when they triumph over poverty. I want to be there when the people win the battle against AIDS. I want to lend a hand. I want to be there for the alcoholic. I want to be there for the drug addict. I want to be there for the victims of violence and abuse. I want to lend a hand. Send me.
This was President Cyril Ramaphosa's first State of the Nation address on the 16th of February 2018. He'd just taken over as caretaker president. His predecessor, Jacob Zuma, had resigned 48 hours prior. It was only the following year, however, when he received the electoral mandate to govern after the ANC garnered nearly 58% of the electorate's votes. Since then, Ramaphosa has had his work cut out for him following Zuma's so-called 9 wasted years. But what has the president actually achieved in the last 6 years in office over and above his pledges during SONA year after year?
5 years that we've been through, years of recovery and rebuilding and also renewal. In the past 5 years, we've faced enormous challenges. One of those was, of course, state capture. What have we done with state capture? We've stopped state capture in its tracks.
Have you, Mr. President?
We have organizations
against your deputy president?
Organizations such as SARS captured. Attempts were made to capture treasury. That was stopped. Organizations or entities such as ESCOM had been captured, Transnet, and stopped state capture, and we've regained control of those, and we are rebuilding them.
In last year's address, Ramaphosa appointed a new Minister of Electricity. He said the new appointment would resolve the energy crisis and, among other things, fast-track the unbundling of ESCOM into 3 entities: generation, transmission and distribution. In September last year, the government established a national transmission company with its board of directors announced last month.
This is another kept promise. There were initially a couple of delays with the unbundling in the sense that the transmission company initially didn't have all the consent that it needed to run independently.
According to Africa Check, the president's also made good on his promise to resolve the issue of the missing middle with the money set aside to fund the National Student Financial Aid Scheme.
In order to qualify for the funding, a student must have a gross household income of no more than 350,000 Rand a year. Over the years, this has led to quite some debate around this group called the missing middle. So students that may have more than this threshold, but still cannot afford tertiary education. And that's really what this funding model seeks to address. It will assist those that earn above 350,000 Rand a year, but less than 600,000. And the initiative was announced by the Higher Education Minister just last month.
But when it comes to state-owned enterprises, Ramaphosa's 6th administration has not fared well. Its record at Transnet particularly concerning.
There was a promise made with regards to 2 key terminals in the country, Durban and Gqoga ports. And these, like I say, are quite important. Durban alone reportedly handles about 60% of all the country's imports and exports. And the promise was around the finalization of private partnerships. This has happened in Durban. A partnership was announced in July 2023. But When they made this announcement, Transnet said that they would soon give an update as well on Gqoga and the private partnership in place there. As of today, there has not been an announcement.
Some promises and pledges remain in progress, but others, such as those of bullet trains and smart cities, remain a pipe dream. But with the elections coming up, will the president address the nation on his scorecard for the last